Caliber! 1, 2, 3, 4! 1, 2, 3, 4! Together!
And welcome back to another episode of the True Patriot Outfitters podcast. Folks, I am Gene. I am your host, and we thank you for joining in here, watching this pre-recorded episode we have here. We have a super cool guest that's joining us here today, and I cannot wait to bring him on and introduce you folks to this guy that's here in the Colorado scene and basically the entire West scene when it comes to fishing. Before we get to that, this episode being brought to you by Camo to College. Folks, one of the hardest things for a lot of our nation's warriors to do is making that transition period from service into civilian life. And this is exactly what Camo to College is all about. This amazing nonprofit organization is there to help these warriors get the resources, stay connected, work with them through this transition piece on whatever level they need. We are proud at the Romans Warrior Foundation to be working with them on many levels here. We have formed a like-minded bond, if you will, of friendships between these two nonprofits. And we got some cool things coming. And that's tonight's episode is being brought to you by Camo to College. Go check them out, Facebook, Instagram, all over the place, and absolutely join in and help support that process there. All right, folks. Well, without further ado, let's bring in the man himself, Mr. Kaliko. Let's go ahead and bring him in. Welcome to the stream, brother.
Thank you, Gene. Thanks for having me.
And I should have done this before I brought you in, but to save from murdering it, because look, I am not the brightest bulb in the Christmas box, okay? Pronounce your last name for me.
Yeah, so Kaliko
Oligo.
Oligo.
Perfect. Okay. See, now I got it.
It's off your tongue, right?
Yeah, I'll forget it in the next 10 seconds and I'll ask you again. But listen, man, I can't thank you enough for joining us here on our little podcast. You're a busy dude, so taking the time out of your schedule to join in, this is awesome.
Appreciate you and appreciate for what you do for our veterans.
You bet, man. It sincerely is our honor. So let's go back to where you and I met. I moved back home here to Colorado after spending 10 years in the great tundra north of Minnesota. I come back here and I'm starting to work with a few companies, and of course Shields being someone that I was very used to back in Minnesota because we had one right there in Rochester. I see, we have one of the largest Shields out there, sitting right here in Johnstown, Colorado. So I start getting kind of plugged in with getting to know people there. And next thing I know, I see this very cool seminar that's going to be going on, and it's about kayak fishing. Now, I knew that there was going to be some basic 101 stuff, on the fishing side, but I was every bit as green in the kayak as anybody else out there because at that time, my boat was still sitting in the garage. I had just got my new Canoe Unlimiteds, and I was sitting there going, okay, I'm not even sure which end of this thing is supposed to point forward here. We need to load this thing out. How am I going to get 33 rods in that thing right there? So I went up, and you and Caleb were putting on a seminar, and dude, it was a phenomenal seminar because
thank you.
Your experiences in fishing are like way outside what I do. And so just seeing the similarities, but then also learning the new technique stuff with you. Caleb, of course, covered a lot of the bass side of things, and really got into that. But that's where I first got a chance to meet you, man, and talk with you. And ever since then, been following you on social media. And like I said, watching some of your CrossFits. Is it CrossFit basically what you do?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's what they're calling it today.
Right. Dude, watching some of those videos, my joints are like, stop it. Just turn that off. You're an extremely well-rounded and multi-talented human being. And so I wanted to absolutely have you come on here on the show and just introduce folks to you. You're a staple name in Colorado for sure. So let's get into how that first came to be. So who are you? What do you do for a living, man?
Well, Gene, I first off, I appreciate it. Diving back to the name,
Yeah.
just rewinding the tape. So Kaliko is actually short for Kaliko Minowakalani. And of course, it's on my driver's license. Finally, Colorado has made some accommodations, and as well as TSA. When they look at my name, they're like, "Okay, we trust you." Okay.
Can I buy a vowel?
Yeah, right. And so, and so, the name, of course, is impressive in and of itself. But then when I say the meaning, people are like, "Are you full of crap?" Now brace yourself. It means
Okay.
heavenly child with a dimpled smile.
Oh, that's awesome. And there they are. I see.
That's right. And I tell that story because if you haven't noticed from the first time anyone has met me, yes, I am from the Hawaiian Islands,
That is phenomenal.
specifically from the island of Kauai, which is the furthest island left and the only island that has never been conquered by King Kamehameha. So technically, we were our own kingdom for quite some time, but
That is awesome. Good
and
stuff.
being that it's surrounded by water and a quick access to the mountains of Kokee, I grew up fishing and hunting my whole life, and I continue that style of living and enjoying the outdoors, especially with friends, especially with family, and of course, with the outdoors comes fitness. And if you don't have that engine, it's really hard to enjoy those outdoors.
For sure, man. For sure. I know. And yeah, you're pedal drive through and through. When did you leave from Hawaii? Was it just 18 going off to college type thing? When did you get over to the mainland?
Sure. So I actually developed baseball talent at an early age and got a taste of it around middle school is when I started to excel. Of course, I didn't
Nice.
know that I was still, 5 feet, dripping wet, 90 pounds. I had that little man syndrome from the get-go. So, scrappy little guy. And that's when I started to realize that I wanted to be in the continental United States. I wanted to see what else is out there. And so once I graduated, I was recruited by the University of Hawaii Hilo and played baseball there. We were at the time a Division I program. We were in the WAC and then moved to Conference USA. So we played high caliber ball year round
Nice.
and traveled a lot.
He
So
Hilo. That's home to some other legendary athletes. BJ Penn,
that's correct.
huge legend. In UFC MMA fighting. He's from Hilo.
Yes, he is. Yes, he
Yeah.
is. And long story made longer about that. He used to train when I redshirted, being that I was a D1 program. My freshman year, I redshirted. I trained in martial arts, and I tell you what, that's one of the hardest things I've ever done. And well respect all the individuals that go down that path.
For sure,
You
man.
know.
MMA is no joke. Yeah, it just I love its evolution, the way it just continues to keep evolving. They don't have their feet stuck in concrete. Watching
Yep.
some videos though on Hawaii of some of the training that the BJ would go through, the whole grabbing of the rock and walking through the water thing. You got to hold onto the rock to keep you down on the bottom, and he's trudging through the sand there, and I'm just like, you are a nut. I would never fight a dude like that. He doesn't care about me.
And you left out the part where the sharks were tracing him.
Exactly. I'm sure they were.
Right. And
But
so yeah, Hilo exposed me to baseball, and I got noticed by several scouts. Had the opportunity to play 2 years in the minor leagues, and that's really where I left my roots in Hawaii and
It's
started to
beautiful.
grow them here in the continental United States. My wife attended UNC up north for grad
Nice.
school.
Okay.
So after I lived the dream for 2 years and air quote retired out of the minors, I found myself here and fell in love with not just the outdoors, but if you ever been to Hawaii, it's it's very monotonous with rain, wind, and maybe some swells that change
And
throughout the
then
year.
rinse and repeat each day.
That's right. That's right. So here in Colorado, you get true seasons.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're calling it now because it seems like it rains all day every day.
It's monsoon season is what it is.
I really want to call it summer, but
Right.
I'm still wearing jackets and things and wool gloves as I'm fishing. But yeah, we fell in love with the outdoors and made it our home. I believe we're here. I just say almost 20 years now because it's such a beautiful spot.
In Colorado is people, one of the things that I forgot about Colorado in the 10 years that I was gone was just how much sunshine.
Yeah.
Out of 365 days on average, we average, like some 300 days of sunshine, and where you really start to see that is when you're void of that. When I got up north, Minnesota has its own beauty. There's no question. And they truly do have seasons, dude. When it's summer, it's like Amazon hot, humid as all get out, green, lush areas, and it's hot. And then, fall, all that green tree turns into those autumn colors. It's beautiful. The one that gets me now, the older I get, is when it's winter, dude, it's not fit for man nor beast. That air hurts your face when you walk into it. It's like, why do I live in a place where the mere air hurts, to be around? I got over that in a hurry. I tell my wife all the time, I used to sit there. Well, I want, some snow for Christmas because it wouldn't be Christmas without. Nah, dog. I turned 50 and I'm like, I could decorate a palm tree. Yeah, I could. And I think I'd do it with a smile too. I think
that's right.
But yeah, it's Colorado. It is, man. It's sunny here, and this year we're getting finally a lot of water, which is good for us.
Well, yeah, it's welcomed.
And that's one of the things people don't realize about, especially this plays right to the heart of us being anglers, is that Colorado, I think, is one of, and I'll have to go get the website to cite actual things, but we're one of like 2 states where we have no water coming into us. Every bit of our water is sourced right here. It's coming from the sky or it's coming from the ground, which it means it comes from the sky for it to be able to come from the ground. And so it's like water is such a premium for us out here, and yet we, listen, we're not even going to get into that part of it.
Right.
But it does affect, sport fishing in a major, major way. So yeah, it's, but it is beautiful. There's no question. If we could slow down the amount of people coming in, that would be handy. But I saw the best meme ever. Denver is officially 1 hour from Denver. So that's pretty much
true.
Yeah. So now you live in the metro area, correct?
I do, right on the outskirts of the metro, South Denver.
Yep, I'm on the north end of the metro area there by that Broomfield Erie area up here is where we're at. So you got the same version down there. I do think southern Colorado, though, is a little bit prettier than northern, though. I think you guys got a little more green down there, I think.
We do. It seems like that path of rain or whatever the case may be flows right over us. But still, my water bill's still high.
Right. So cool, man. So you make it over here. You decide to retire from the baseball deal. You start your professional career, and fishing, it stays with you basically because it's just part of who you are. Which most of us, that's really that do this at any extent. It's not a hobby. When people are like, "Well, you got an expensive hobby," really? What is that? Because fishing's not a hobby. Without fishing, I don't think I am me, personally. It's part of who I am, it's what I do, type thing. So you clearly have that same, type bite with that. So when did you really start to press hard on that, or has it just always been like that?
It has always been within my DNA. My fathers and fathers before him all originated from an island, right? If you look at me, yes, I'm Pacific Islander, but I'm also Filipino. And
nice. Okay.
We fished all angles. I mean, from the throw net style to the shoreline to commercial fishing on boats. My favorite that I kind of have taken to naturally, because I'm also an archery hunter, is that I love spearfishing.
Oh,
So
nice.
one breath and you descend into another world, and the connection with not just your surroundings, but what you're pursuing has to be dialed in to the nth degree, or else you're not going to make it.
I have a very good friend. You might know him because I'm sure this can't be the circles can't be that big. Justin Fox. He's a very good friend of mine, and he's the president of Dive Rescue International up in Fort Collins, and he is a big free diving spear fisherman.
I want to say if it wasn't with you, he was at one of those seminars there at Johnstown Shields.
I bet.
So, yeah.
Yeah, he sent me some video, you guys, like, when he'd get right up next to walleye, and they would come cruising right by, and you'd see him tracking it, leading it, pow, and down it goes. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to stay on the deck of my boat, dude. You go ahead. You guys can stay down there. I'm staying up here.
I experienced a little bit of that in South Dakota, because I know Colorado here, game fish, the legal way to take it obviously is with pole and hook.
Yep.
But over in Pierre, South Dakota, I believe you can pursue walleye with a spear.
Right. I thought Nebraska you can too.
I've never tried it, but I would love to. I
think so. Yeah, McConaughey. I think that's what he was sending me some video of that area there when he was up at McConaughey.
Yeah.
Doing that.
And you think about the selection process, right? Of pursuing something that you visually see and you can obviously size up and take that specific fish, versus with a hook and, heaven knows what you're going to pull out of that. Heaven knows if it's going to throat it all the way down. And, you've seen some hooking styles.
Yep. But
spearfishing to me is my favorite by far.
That's awesome.
Yep.
And so, you say you're a bow hunter as well.
Archery hunter, yeah. So in Hawaii, it's almost America's best kept hunting secret.
Awesome.
Because when you look at the diversity of game on all the 8 major islands, we can start off with mouflon, access deer, which has been made very popular by other podcasts that we won't mention, as well as black-tailed deer. Hogs are prolific throughout the islands. And then we got game birds. We got Rio Grande turkeys, pheasants, blues, and ringnecks, as well as chuckers.
Wow.
And I'm forgetting quail and franklins. So yeah, it's great.
And I can only assume that many of those things have been brought to those islands, right? I mean, obviously,
right.
Yeah. They had to be. So,
yep.
And but it's wild how they, how they take to the areas there and are able to still flourish and do well enough. Yeah, I've only been to Hawaii one time. It was to the Big Island. And I got a chance to see, I've been to the southernmost point of the United States because we took the drive and I went all the way down to the bottom of the Big Island down there.
Did you get to Green Sands Beach, where the whole beach is made out of green lava crystals, avaline?
Yes, we drove. I did not go down there. This was back when I didn't realize what it was, but I was battling some gallbladder issues at the time. So I remember kind of staying upside, but I know our kids and my wife were able to actually make some, a trek down. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful. We went by one of the areas where they shot some of Jurassic Park, of course.
Yeah.
And we actually drove on the other flip side of that. We drove till the road ended. And so there's an area where the road just literally stops. You can't go any further. This highway, it's like, into a parking lot, and that's that, Jack. You got to turn around. Yeah, it was beautiful. It was definitely I'm bucket list item, and glad had an opportunity to get there.
Well, let's change that being the only trip and take you to Kauai sometime.
Dude, that would be amazing. Yeah. Yeah, I know my wife would be all over that, ready to go. Bag is probably already half packed right now. So, and so this kind of, it leads us in. So you've been around there, but let's talk the fitness part of your life, man.
Sure.
You are, for lack of a better term, and I mean this in the utmost compliment, you're a freak of just physical fitness, dude. I watch. So, folks, keep in mind, I'm like 6'1", 250. I've never been accused, even if I'm at good weight, I'm like 220, 6'1". I'm not a small dude. And, dude, I'm watching you hoist some weight over your head. I'm like, that's the front end of my pickup I think he just picked up right there. Where did that, I mean, obviously you're an athlete, but you're beyond standard athletic type fitness, man. You like get into some serious stuff. Is this just personal drive, or did you lose a bet, or what? What got you there, man?
Well, going back to Kauai, at a very early age, everything lines up to the high school, Waimea High School. Okay. And Waimea High School is known for very strong, very fit individuals, both male and female. And if you follow any bit of Waimea High School, whatever they're doing and continuing to do, they're producing some amazing athletes. Wow. And so I am glad to be a part of that alumni class that was raised through, CrossFit may take all the credit now, but back then we were doing that crazy kinds of things. Yeah. While we were coming up through the ranks, and Pop Warner fed into Waimea High School. Baseball fed into Waimea High School, volleyball, et cetera, et cetera. Wow. So at a very early age, I got very comfortable with weight training. I got very comfortable with cross training, if you want to label CrossFit and something different. Sure. And we played multiple sports because we were a small high school, and we were scrappy son of a guns. So when you look at all the tools of a baseball player, there's always that X factor, right? A lot of Waimea High School grads have that X factor. Nice. So that certainly obviously carries through the way I generally live my life, to my business, through my competitive fishing in the kayak scene of which we met, and now in CrossFit, where I compete worldwide in the 40 to 44 age group, and I'm top 100 in the world. Bro, it doesn't surprise me. It's like, okay, that makes sense. I've seen your content, dude. I could see that. That is so awesome, man. So I coached for 18 years prior to going all in on this here, primarily football, but also some track and hockey as well. And one of the things that, I always try to tell people was that understand football was nothing more than my medium. Okay. It was what I used to try to teach these young men some life skills. It didn't matter what the sport was. I'm going to use that to try to teach those skills. And one of the biggest things we always tried to impress upon mom and dad, especially because mom and dad were usually the roadblock, was multiple sports. Yeah. Do not sit there at a young age and start drilling them into just a singular, line, thinking you got the next Tom Brady on your hands here. It's like, stop it. Stop that and let these kids go be kids and try all these different, if they're athletic, let them spread their wings, man, because that is so key. And so when you said that you guys played multi-sports, like that's a major factor in why you guys have so much success coming out of there. Yeah, is because you get the different experiences. Your body doesn't take the beating. You know, it can last longer if you're not doing that repetitive use stuff. It's like, so yeah. That's super cool. I have a terrible reputation of showing up to the gym and just getting right into a workout. People are like, you don't warm up? You don't maybe take a drink of water maybe? And I have, my goals that I want to hit. Right now, though, it's kind of that off season because I really want to make time for what we love to do outside on our Colorado reservoirs. That's right. And obviously get my aerobic capacity going in the mountains in the high country before we enter into bow hunting season come September. September's when the bow hunting. Yeah. Nice. If you don't mind me asking, and I like you have a master's degree, and a lot of student debt, to show all my degrees. And not a one of them is in journalism. So I'm learning my way through this stuff. You know what I mean? If you don't mind me asking, what is it, your business that you have? Sure. So, well, first off, to answer your question, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology and a secondary bachelor's degree in communication.
See,
And
you could do this better than me, guaranteed.
and then I got my master's degree. I got my master's in business in finance.
Outstanding.
It was right around the time the market crashed, and I'm like, well, there's no finance jobs. I have to stay in business. I have to stay in sales, and I'm pretty good at sales. And so currently, I'm employed with Class Wallet. We're educational digital wallet system that
Nice.
helps public funds get from point A to point B to be distributed through teachers, parents, students, etc.
Okay. Awesome.
And my personal business that I have is within photography and videography. And that all stemmed from my kayaking ventures.
Heck yeah.
And funny rabbit hole to go down is that when I started to compete in the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club tournaments, I started to do pretty good, Chatfield, Pueblo, and then of course the mountain reservoirs is where I thrive. I love fishing those giant trouts of spinny, hunting that pike in 11 mile, those skinny waters. And so when I won my first tournament in 11 mile, in fact, I don't know, maybe you got to check with Alex on this one, but I think I still hold the 5-fish record on 11 mile, pushing 124 inches.
Wow.
With 3 trout and 2 pike. Johnstown Shields reached out and they're like, you want to consider being an ambassador for us, where, you post something, you get a hat, blah, blah, blah. So I started making these fishing videos over and over, and companies started reaching out and saying, hey, can you make a sizzle reel for me? Can you make a commercial for me? And that blossomed to an actual LLC where I can send you the link. I just created the most latest of my video promos for Sea Eagle.
Nice.
They're a rafting company out of the Northeast area, and great products. We did a video on Pueblo Reservoir with their kayak, their fishing kayak inflatable raft with a Bigsby motor on it.
Nice.
And I tell you what, that thing ate me for breakfast. The individual that we were shooting and videoing was just cutting through that Pueblo wind, where that Hobie PA-14 was way in the back, struggling to get through that wind. So, but yeah, that business has certainly taken off based on all the fishing and videos that you see on social media. It's taken off, and it's the American dream, Gene.
That I tell you, man, and that's one of the pieces, with inside our industry has been the video side of things. Podcast is another one. I can personally attest to the fact that so many doors have opened up because of the success of the TPO podcast. We're still small. I mean, we're still small potatoes, but man, talk about having people coming knocking on the door when they heard, about our lock-in with the All-American Kayak Series. And so that seems to be the area. And when you have skills in those areas, man, that is sought out. I know now that I am fully aware that this is actually a business of yours. Yes, you're going to be getting an email going, okay, let's talk budget. Because the TPO, man, we need promotional stuff, because one of the hardest parts for us when we tell people we want to take vets kayak fishing is when they hear kayak, it's immediately they see a river, they see sitting down in it, and they see themselves going down rapids. And I'm like, no. Look at me. Do you think I would do that? I would be in a strainer before you could even think about it. So being able to show them firsthand, some of these experiences that we do. So man, this is awesome. And that, it makes total sense. And this is a great lead in. You are part of the Shields fishing team for the state of Colorado. Is that specifically with Johnstown, or is it with the Springs? Is it both?
So I'm the unique individual where I think most of my surrounding colleagues are guides, to where I am a tournament fisherman / ambassador, if you will.
Yep.
And it's not just for fishing. I'm also a Shields Pro for the outdoor hunting scene as well as the fitness scene. So
that's awesome.
In terms of endorsing what the brand of Shields is, those are the three main areas that I endorse for Shields, and I love them. They have supported me from the humble beginnings of do a post, here's a hat, to really collaborating on what Shields has really done for my career and how they've helped out hundreds of thousands of people here in Colorado to start to enjoy the outdoors.
Well, they're an anchor supporter of the TPO for sure. Without them, we wouldn't have, the ability to get out right now. They supplied us with, the PFDs that we utilize, good PFDs. I worked with Caleb, up there at Johnstown.
Yeah.
Paddles. They got us set up with some bending branches paddles for each one of our kayaks. Got us some nice nets, fishing nets. This is all gear that stays with the kayak, so that we can make sure we can take these guys out each time. Got us some rod holders, some pliers, just tools and good stuff that people can use, each time they go out. And then not to mention, sitting behind me here, they donated 10 rods and reels to us. The Shields Outfitter combo is about $150 Outfitter combo. Fluger reels on them. Really, I mean, those reels I think are actually nicer than most of the egg beaters I'm carrying in my kayak.
Yeah. I'm looking. Are those presidential reels?
I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
I'd have to make my way all the way over. My headset won't reach. So.
Yeah. No, but staying on the lines of Shields, they're the only organization that I represent that comes to me and asks, who can we support?
Yep.
Nonprofits here in Colorado.
Yep.
And whether it's veteran based, whether it's outdoors based, they're willing to step forward and make their presence known and help out financially. And I have to applaud that. And that's the reason why I support them through and through.
Dude, there's not many big box stores like these guys that actually, it's part of their MO, which is to get into the community and support the community at the nonprofit, whether it's, kids athletics, if it's, saving animals of, shelters, veterans, first respond. It doesn't matter, man. They want to get out there and they want to help at every level, from through that. So yeah, I get it. Yep. Now the seminar stuff, because you did a phenomenal job when I had a chance to meet you there and learn about that. You taught this old dog some new stuff for sure. As we were going through some of that. Where did that skill come from? Is that just kind of been natural to you, or is that also something you picked up?
I have to say that shamelessly, part of the commercial fishing industry is standing on a tour boat and giving presentations,
right,
to tourists, completely blind of what they're saying. And I am not going to say it on this podcast. Neither I will confirm nor deny. Maybe fluffing it up a little bit about what they're seeing, what they're experiencing. And from there is where I've gotten my public speaking ability. And I'll leave it at that, Gene.
So if you're competing in the 40 to 44 range, you're close to my generation, but maybe a little bit. You still might remember the movie 48 Hours. Eddie Murphy. Yeah. So one of the best lines in 48 Hours, they say experience in BS can get you a long way. Well, wait till you experience my BS.
Fake it till you make it.
That's right. That's right.
No, so that has really cultivated my career. And then, of course, when you're in athletics, you're bound to do some sort of seminar or a coaching position. And when you come from such a small knit community, I mean, Gene, when I grew up, Cape Kaha is where I'm from, translates into the place. I might just change my license plate to Cape Kaha. There was only 500 people living in that town. And so, yes, you take on many roles, whether you like it or not, right? So when you come back from college and your head coach of the baseball team says, you're going to help out with baseball practice, you're like, yes, sir. And you show up and help. So
that's awesome.
Seminars, giving people, a lesson or lessons or stacking up some sort of, terminal objectives to be completed at the end of a seminar is something that I've done at an early age. And then before my current position, I was with an organization, the ACT assessments. I was with them for 13 years.
Oh, wow.
And so I have delivered workshops, professional development seminars. So I've been in that world for a long time.
Well, I can say this, and I've literally told people this without you knowing it, and I will say it directly to your face, is that seeing you and watching you, how you operate, I absolutely 100% trust your judgment on process when it comes to goal achievements, goal setting. You are the definition of that. You know, I think personally, while it is impressive that, yes, you could probably pick the front end of my truck up, I think the strongest tool you have is your mind, because your ability to set that goal, focus, you know, and push to achieve the goal is systematically is absolutely impressive. Coming from a coach myself, you know, knowing that and seeing that in another coach, yeah, you have that piece there. And so that's why this makes sense now why I enjoyed your seminar so much there. It's like, okay, I get this now. This dude he knows exactly the process of delivery of information, how you need to work through this stuff and, you know, set those, man. So that's, it's impressive to watch, dude. It certainly is.
Appreciate it.
And we still, I think 2-3 times we've tried to connect and get out fishing together, and it's like schedule jumps in the way.
Yeah.
But we're going to do it.
Over to the multi-species side. That's why.
I'm not even sure I can spell trout. So I don't know if I could identify a walleye. This is one for you, and this is the God's honest truth. I have never, at 50 years old, probably been fishing for 40 of those years, and 25 of those pretty darn serious, you know, like I really wanted to catch fish. I have never to this date caught a walleye purposefully.
We got to change that.
Every walleye I have ever brought in the boat, which it's been a lot, has been me hunting for smallmouth bass and finding a walleye instead. Now in Minnesota, the walleye and the greenfish hang out because it's weed edge games up there, right? I mean, it's all natural lakes.
Right.
So the walleye, they hunt in the same places. So it's, you know, and when I was learning that forward facing sonar, actually one of the best, I had my buddy and I had our bass boats out. We were prepping for a tournament. He had live scope. I did not. He's like, there's a big ball of them right in front of us here. So we got our noses of our boats, you know, sitting like this. And I'm just going off of what he's telling me. He's like, right down in there, right down in there. We both start throwing in there. It was just a wad of walleye, dude. And we just started yoinking them out of there. And it's like, okay, yeah, this is not, we didn't want walleye. There's supposed to be some bass in here somewhere, you know?
Well, I know all the multi-species fishermen will start to cringe, but that's literally our secret. If you find walleye, there'll be bass. If you find bass, there'll be walleye. You fish bass, you'll catch smallies. You fish slow, you catch walleye. That's the trick. Nice.
Well, you know, and that's out here, every walleye I've ever caught's been on a Ned rig.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because usually off of points or, you know, or humps or whatever, you know, I see, you know, something on the electronics there, whether it's traditional sonar or if it's my Panoptics, you know, firing out their live scope. And yeah, I throw out there and I'll drag the little Ned rig back, and all of a sudden, doink, doink, and it takes off running. Boom. And then it's this weird faced, big bug eyed looking thing. I'm like, yeah, what the hell is that?
In your face. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, man.
I developed a different style of fishing for walleye. And, you know, for all our walleye anglers out there, this almost seems like a bad word or like a taboo, but I like to fish walleye fast. The reason why I like to fish walleye fast is because I like to cover a lot of ground. I know I was just talking about my hobby of being very stable, but it doesn't move fast. Well, it moves fast enough for me to get from, you know, point A to point B around the point, or point A to point B through a sandy area where there's active feeding walleye. And in a tournament, it's a numbers game, right? You know this.
Yeah.
If your percentage of catching fish goes up, eventually you'll catch some decent fish where you can do really well in tournaments. And so I'm a big blades bait guy.
I noticed that from that seminar. You talked quite a bit about blades.
I love the blades, and I also love soft plastics, and that gripping of that jerk of soft plastics has done really well for me in tournaments as well as fish fries here in Denver.
You like throwing the fluke then? Is that what you're saying? The soft jerk bait? Yeah.
Yes. And if you can dial in the size of fluke with your jig head and the style of bite that's going on at that time, you'll outfish any walleye boat that'll pass you with a kayak.
There are a few things to me that are more fun than Wolf River chain. There's a time of year you can go up there. This is in Wisconsin, up by Lake Winnebago up there, where the smallmouth on the Wolf River will go just bat crap crazy over a spook type topwater and a fluke. You take that fluke almost weightless, I would most time I'd put like a big old 5/0, so it's, it has the weight of the hook on it, but you throw it literally into those weeds. I mean, right into the weeds that are getting blown by the current, and you just start popping it, ripping it through there. And dude, it's the spook and fluke show when you can, when you can throw those. Now keep in mind, by the end of the day, you have like 4 forms of tennis elbow and carpal tunnel. Oh, yes. I mean, your arms are destroyed by the end of the day, but chances are you've put a lot of smallies in the boat like that. So yeah, fluke fishing can be a ton of fun.
Yeah. And it's not always, the bite's not always on the fluke, but if you can dial it in where you trigger it with that snap and have that fall, that presentation in front of them, it's really hard for a predator to resist that type of presentation.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have a feeling this. We should go out. We should definitely film this because you are definitely going to be laughing at me, I'm sure, because I have a feeling I don't even have the kind of gear you use. Like the smallest pound test that you're probably going to ever find me wrapped around is like, 10, 12 pound. I mean, guys start talking about 6 and 8 pound tests. And I'm like, I think my tennis shoes, I don't even have it. I don't carry that kind of stuff with me because I don't trust myself. I'm too much of a gorilla when it comes to the fishing. I'm a power fisherman. I enjoy movement. I enjoy activity. Yeah. So when you tell me to slow down, I'm like, oh, it's like you took my dog away from me, type thing.
Well, but in the multi-species world, yes. If you're fishing like April, yes, you size down. Definitely. Yeah. But especially with Colorado Kayak Fishing Club, a lot of the multi-species mountain fishing are getting pushed to July, September.
Yep.
And that's fast fishing. And so if you're on Spinney Reservoir and you got that growth of foliage on the bottom, you better be pulling max crotro with minimum 15 pounds. Or else that 30-inch pike is going to dive down and you're going to snap off. No problem. So you're still speaking my language, Gene. No worry.
Nice. Good. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge for me still, and I'm going to see what I can do with this new setup here. I'm going to give it another shot now that I'm a little more experienced with kayaks. Is the pedal drive, system. I keep talking because I love the CKFC guys. I know a handful of them over there, and they're just some of the coolest human beings I've met, man. I love the CKB the same because it's a lot of similar same people, but it's like. Until, I'm a motor guy. That is just, when I'm bass fishing, around the country, we, like on Gunnersville and some of these places. No, dude, I too like to cover water. And I'm telling you, even at Red Willow, if I would have had a pedal drive at Red Willow, my kayak would still be at the bottom of that ramp right now because that ramp was so freaking steep to try to get back up it. Yeah, I felt good. I'm not going to mention his name because I just met him finally, and he's a super cool dude. He's about half my age. He weighs about as much as his Hobie does, and I watched him have to stop a couple times coming up the ramp there. That actually made me feel better because I had to stop once, That's right. bringing my Unlimited up with all my gear on it. And I'm like, am I just that fat and out of shape, dude? When I watched him struggling, I'm like, ha-ha, okay, we're all right. No, this is just a horrible ramp. We don't like this ramp. So yeah, that's the whole pedal drive thing. It's like let's see where I'm at with it. We just got another one, New Canoe, Blake Young. Thank you, Blake, for connecting us up with that and making it possible for us to get our third kayak with a pedal drive system in it. So yeah, I'll test it out again, man. We'll see where it's at, and then maybe when you and I go out,
we'll just swap, flip flop.
Yeah. I can't. I don't think. I don't think I can be fishing at a tournament out of anything but a new canoe. I'm pretty sure in the fine print of my fishing team contract it said that.
That is fair. Fair.
I do. In all honesty, though, in all fairness, I do want to experience that Hobie drives because there's something different about that. It's not the traditional, push. You would know as a guy that understands body mechanics there. Some people say that it's harder on you to do this, but I don't think it would be. It seems to me that would be, you could last a lot longer on fatigue of muscle doing that motion as opposed to this traditional bicycle motion.
Sure. I don't really know the difference because quite frankly, I don't have enough experience on that sitting back bicycle style, but I do have a lot of experience on a bicycle as I before hitting the CrossFit scene, I was a triathlete and I qualified for nationals as well. So
of course you were.
I spent a lot of time on bicycles. So the efficiency of me on a bicycle, at least back in my 30s, I guess I could say,
sure.
Was quite tremendous, and so carrying it over to kayaking, that kind of exposes the reason why I love kayaking, manual drive, whether it's the Hobie or the cycling pattern. So I think either way, as long as you're using your body. Do you think you sit upright a little more with the Hobie pedal drive as opposed to the pedal drive systems? So it's two different systems, right? So the Outback that I'm most used to because I got into this PA in 2017, and the PA you definitely sit higher.
Okay.
Right, you have that vantage seat where your legs are a little bit more downwards, whereas on Outback you sit fairly low. And you push up, right? And the very short experience I have with those cycling ones, I believe it was the Old Towns that I tried out.
Yep, the PDLs.
Right. It felt a little bit more closely representative to the Outback system versus this PA.
Gotcha.
Because, to be honest, PA is just made for fishing, right?
Totally.
You're not winning any races. You're not, it's not built for distance, definitely, but it's built for stability and, taking on that classic chop.
I will say I've been pulled away. Even with my motor, I've had guys in those PAs, pull away from me against current. That was the key. The Hobie hulls are, that's where they excel. And those pedal drives in current are, phenomenal. And I had it was at Lewis and Clark actually, me and another guy. Now the difference was as I'm cruising, I'm sipping coffee, and I could hear him breathing. Over there. So there was a difference. By the time we got to our fishing hole, I hadn't broke a sweat, I might have got some coffee on me a little bit, but so there was a little difference there. But other than that, those things are impressive. So yeah, it would be cool because it's still to this date, dude. That's the Unlimited's the only thing I have ever fished out of. I'm 1.5 seasons in now, and we're moving into our next. Our next half of this, the closeout of this season here will start up. We've got possibly an event in the middle of July, but I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to swing that or not. We've got a lot of stuff going on with the nonprofit, and we want to stick with that stuff. Okay. Do you have anything on deck for as far as tournaments go here? Were you just at Pueblo or Trinidad with the multi-species?
No, it was not. I was I had two things scheduled that supposed to take place on Saturday that got canceled. One was, and you're probably gonna poke fun at it, those crazy, not DECA, those Spartan races. So Spartan race, actually the CEO reached out to top qualifiers within the CrossFit community
Okay.
He gave us free passes to go do Spartan races.
Oh, wow.
So that was one supposedly event that was happening. Then we had another family event. So last minute shift, I chose to go fish Spinney Reservoir on Saturday, and
Sure.
it was incredible. So my next fishing tournament comes up, I believe July 29th. There's a multi-species tournament through the Kayak Fishing Club at Spinney Reservoir. So
Yep.
mark your calendars for that. That's going to be a battle because right now there are very large fish being pulled out of Spinney.
Well, I'll tell you, with all this rain, man, I think Colorado is showing out here because Trinidad, the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club went down there, and both the bass and multi-species just put on a show, dude. They were knocking on 90 inches on the bass side. I'm telling you, and I remember Trinidad not being so hot last year when I went down there with the CKB. I won big bass in that event with like a 17.5-inch smallie. And I'm like, are you serious? This is winning big bass, I was happy. Sure, I'll take the money, you bet. But and it was fishing kind of stingy. Now, keep in mind, everybody kept telling me Trinidad is normally way better than this, but right now it was low last year and this and this. But I have a feeling this rain has just, this weather system has just really been helping the fisheries start to rebound, man. Get some more water in there, get more forage in there for them to eat. You got runoff coming in. That's giving them food and source and all kinds of good stuff to finally get after. Yeah, exactly. It's not just baking in our sun, because Minnesota, the air wants to kill you. In Colorado, the sun tries to kill you. So it's a trade-off,
I agree.
Yeah. I mean,
so aside from that, I think in September we have another tournament in 11 Mile, mid-September. I know that's usually around bow season. But I also, one of my other sponsors, Casking, the VP there, Al Norker, he's been having me on his boat fishing the Colorado Walleye Trail Series.
Oh, nice.
So we fished, we were supposed to fish at Creek. But remember how low Creek was, I believe, in like April? So they moved it over to Chatfield, and Chatfield was a blast the first day. Second day was like watching paint dry. Kind of like fishing that Ned ring, just slowly bouncing it off the ground. And so if you got lucky with that 25-incher, but usually you got that 13-incher, it was tough going. But so I've been doing that as well, and we'll see where I can fill in for his team.
Sure.
Because he's been in and out of the state of Colorado.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And having those connections like that, man, that's always fishing new opportunities is so important. I'm a huge proponent of that. Take your opportunities where you can, stretch out of your comfort zone, because it helps you just kind of, in my opinion, kind of refocus back down to on the fishing side, you get a chance to get back to the basics again, and that's what I, need to keep teaching myself. I got one good tip, after day one at Red Willow there. It wasn't a location, but it was, a key as to what they were relating to. Mm-hmm. And that allowed me to simplify things down. I had 3 rods basically that we were going to throw for the day. And I put my head down, went to work, and bang, we get results, from that. And so that told me, I took more from that tournament than a check and a third place, plaque. It was just, slow down, old guy. They're just fish. Stop getting in front of you, in front of your own mechanisms here, and just get back to doing it the way you love to do it. And, and things start to come together a lot cleaner with that. So,
yeah, there's so many truths to the style of fishing, which gives you your own experiences, your own approach. And that's what really attracted me to the Colorado outdoors. Number one, when we moved here in September, fly fishing was something that I got into, and now I love it. Right?
I was going to say, are you a big fly fisherman?
Big fly fisherman. I love it.
Nice.
I was so determined this past Saturday to catch one on my fly rod, not with nymphs and a bubble, but meat, right? So I'm throwing my big 8 weight rod, and, I think I have some carpal tunnel, and I still feel a cramp on my left hand because I'm wrong-handed. But finally I caught one, and she was a dandy. off of my fly rod. But I got into fly fishing, and then winter hit, got into ice fishing.
Ooh.
And so, this past year, I actually did a couple ice fishing tournaments and did okay. There's some diehard ice fisher people that can really bring in some amazing fish. So
Right.
I think with the ice fishing, fly fishing, and of course my experience from Hawaii, I think that's the reason why I'm so competitive in the multi-species scene, because I'm not solely stuck to one style of fishing.
You're an outdoorsman, dude. I mean, there's hands down. You're so rounded in so many other areas and ways. So here's an open invite right on air. I'm going to put you on the spot. I would love, and I don't know, I don't have it picked out yet, but
Sure.
What I would love to do is collaborate with you to get a vet or two or a first responder or two, and the four of us go out fishing. Just to have them to have that opportunity to spend time with you and see a true master at work, and you're going to be able to show them some stuff, and we'll pick a body of water like that you absolutely love. We should go to one of those. So I want them to have, a unique experience with a guy that's a class act that knows his stuff. And this would be, I was once told, don't be the bucket guy, be the conduit guy. When cool information comes your way, don't hold it. Share it, send it on. So that's exactly, like I said, I'm putting you on the spot. We'll work out the details later if we can make this happen, which I'm sure we can if we can set it down. But dude, that would be amazing. We would be honored to get out there with you, dude, and go give these guys an experience of a lifetime.
Well, if anybody's listening, that's a vet, first responder that wants to hang out with Gene and Kaliko for a day or so, I'm all for it.
Awesome, brother.
And I'm pretty sure our supporters, being Shields, and our other supporters will definitely jump in and help out as well.
100%. I know. Yeah, they would jump at this for sure. Well, listen, June 24th, you're absolutely invited. If you don't have anything going on, it's a Saturday from 8 to 3. We're going to be at Stanley Lake. So if you just want to come out and hang, dude, it's a meet and greet for the TPO. We're going to be at Stanley. We're going to have the Colorado Kayak Fishing Club is going to be on hand, and also Peak Rowing. You would probably it'd be a cool thing to get to know these guys. They use Stanley Lake for their rowing classes and such.
Nice.
One of the founders of this club there, she is I believe a professional level. I know collegiate for sure, but I think she even went pro as well as a rower. So it's super cool that they have a bunch of their stuff. But we're going to be out there, dude. If you and the family are available, swing on by, come down, say hey, and I'm sure we'll have some cool swag here and there for the kids.
I'll put that down. I would love to.
Yeah, it's going to be a good time down there.
But every time I show up to these events, no one wants to chat with me. They just want to see my kayak.
Right.
What do you have on your kayak? How do you fish this? Why do you have that?
You don't even have to bring the yak, bro. You don't even have to bring it. You could just come on down and hang out, and we'll shoot the breeze down there, and we'll talk fishing, and let the kids run around the beach, and let them take the unlimiteds, and out and play around in those. Yeah, that's kind of the whole thing, just to give people an idea of what we're offering out there. But well, awesome, man. Listen, I can't thank you enough for stopping by and spending some time with us. I hope to make this a habit where we get a chance to get you on here. Like I said, you're a super cool human being. You're an outdoorsman extraordinaire, and you're a staple in the state of Colorado. There's no question about it. And clearly, in the islands, man, get back to Hawaii there. Holy crap. My wife just walked in. So if she, once she hears about the talk from Hawaii, I'm sure I'm going to see a head poke around the corner real quick. Yes. She's ready to go. She's ready to go. I know that for sure. So,
well, I've thoroughly enjoyed this opportunity to sit down and slow down and chat with you, Gene. But once we get out there in the outdoors, there's no slowing down.
No, sir. And I like to hear that, because then you and I fish similar then. So let me do one thing real quick, though. I do want to put this up here. What are let's go with your first, your Instagram social handle there for people to follow along with your adventures out there. What is that on Instagram?
Absolutely. So it's pretty easy. It's Kaliko Oligo.
Okay, so it's just your name there.
Yep. There's only one, Gene.
Yeah, I bet. It's not dot. It's just Kaliko Oligo.
Kaliko space Oligo.
Okay. Space Oligo.
And that's also for Facebook,
okay.
Twitter, LinkedIn, you name it. And my videography company flies under the name Oligo and Company, LLC.
All right. So let's, and bam. Right there, folks. Get out there. All the socials, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Kaliko Oligo, and also Oligo and Company LLC. Follow him out there, and you are going to love the content he puts out, man. It is a ton of fun. If you're looking for motivation, watch dude hit that CrossFit. And I was watching. You got your kids doing it. Your girls are getting into it. They're yeah. I'm pretty sure your kids are already outlifting me already. But
Kalia, the oldest, is a competitive gymnast, and she just actually tests up, so she'll be competing as a level 5 at 12 years old. So she's also a beast.
Wow. You know, that's the apple doesn't fall from the tree too far, you know. Absolutely. Absolutely. That is so awesome.
It.
Well, listen, brother. Yeah. Again, thank you so very much for stopping by, folks. Don't forget, smash that subscribe button. That is a massive thing for us on YouTube. More subscribers. We want to build our community on YouTube. That is a huge help in finding supporters for the TPO, Romans Warrior Foundation, for all the fishing adventures and everything we're doing out there. And of course, likes and supports. As always, folks. Oh, look at me over here, completely not on the right screen. Now I'm on the right screen. Tight lines, y'all, and be safe.
One, two, three.